Join us for the Iron Man Empowerment Podcast, where we discuss matters close to the heart. This and every Saturday at 8 a.m. until 9:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on HGG Radio. I am your host, Dr. Lincoln Bryan, alongside your co-host, Pastor Clive Atkinson, Bishop Hopeton Morris, and Elder Edmund Muir. The Iron Man Empowerment Podcast. We're not just talk, we're informative. I'm not sure what's happening from my end this morning, but let me say good morning again to all our listeners. Yes, Pastor Clive, if you just
There
chime.
you go. There you go. Keep going.
Yes. Good morning. All right. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Sorry for that. It seemed like I'm just having some challenges on my end, but let me officially welcome you to the Iron Man Empowerment Podcast this morning. And I want to thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here yet another Saturday morning. Here, of course, we discuss matters that are close to the heart here on the Iron Man Empowerment Podcast. This morning, we're coming back to you with part 2 of this discussion we have started on last week. And we're talking about the good in saying goodbye. And so we want to really tackle this this topic on this morning because goodbyes can be a catalyst for growth, renewal, and transformation. And so, whether it's the end of a relationship or a career change or a new chapter in life, it is important that we use the word goodbye. And so, join us this morning as we explore the power of letting go and discover how embracing the goals in goodbye can set you free to become the liberated person that you were meant to be. So, good morning to our co-host, Pastor Clive Atkinson, Bishop Hopton Morris, and Elder Edmund Muir. All will be joining us at the table on this morning as we embark on this journey of having again this important discussion. We want to also still say our prayers and still say a prayer for those who are affected in Jamaica. There are some persons who have still not have electricity, no electricity there, some still struggling with internet and all of this. So we still want to keep our brethren in Jamaica in mind. Good morning, Pastor. How are you today, sir?
Bless you, man. I'm doing good. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. I am doing wonderful. I am blessed and highly favored and flavored by the Lord.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so we're giving God thanks. We're giving God thanks through it all.
That's right.
How is everything on your side?
It's been good. We've been having like a heat wave. Oh my God. Man, in the last like couple weeks, it's
Wow,
just,
wow,
it was so hot. We went up all the way to 30, 39 at one point.
wow.
It's just so hot. And, it's
I'm
crazy.
I'm seeing that going on in the news, but on your side seems to be a place of extreme. It's either extreme heat or extreme cold, but something on the extreme side, I guess you will have to face up there. I'm seeing that in the news for that BC is breaking some record in terms of the heat, and now of course up in your side there. So stay cool, Pastor. Good morning, and I'll give you an opportunity just to shout out our listeners that are joining us.
Yes, good morning, everybody. The Lord bless you. Good to have you another Saturday morning right here on AGG Radio, the station of your choice. God bless you. A few persons that are joining, and to Pat and everybody. I won't start getting into names, but Dr. Bryan will do all of that. But good
Yes,
morning to everybody. It's a good day. It's a good day to be alive and well. And this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And I'm excited
indeed.
about this Saturday morning and the chapter, this new chapter of our lives. As I just celebrated my birthday, man. It was they surprised me, Dr. Bryan.
Yes. How was that, Pastor?
They surprised me. I didn't know they had a whole, the church they had a function downstairs after service on Sunday. Man, they kept it from me, and yeah, and it was good.
Yes. I'm really happy that you enjoy that. And big shout out to the High Ground Tabernacle Church and the saints there for, of course, making your father feel, love. You love your
Yeah,
father and
man.
your pastor feel that love on his birthday. So we want to say big shout out to all the members of Higher Ground Tabernacle there in Edmonton. God bless you richly. God bless you richly. Um, Also, we want to say good morning to all our listeners near and far that are joining us in Jamaica, Antigua. I see you. Good morning to you, Charmaine Doley, they're over there in Antigua. I see my aunt, Mahela Emmings, always on a Saturday morning, and we're so
Yeah,
grateful. This is part of her Saturday morning routine. She get up on a Saturday morning, locked and loaded and ready. So we say good morning and to everyone. My sister-in-law Sonia Bowen over there is always on as well. So we say big shout out and good morning to you near and far. Lady Janice, good morning. Pat the Overcomer, we say good morning to you. Seen Reverend Goldburn is on the program, sir. We need to get you back on. Is joining us. Good morning to you, Elder Nicole Hamilton. It's good to have you down there in Jamaica. And so everyone that is joining us near and far. I see one of my other auntie, maybe it's Hemmings over there in Florida. Good morning. Good morning to you, Carlene. Thank you again for joining us. Janice, we see you. Good morning. Thank you also for being here with us. So from wherever you are joining us, Canada, Jamaica, Antigua, St. Martin. Oh, good morning to my friend. Julian Fedricks over there in Antigua. Antigua is out this morning. I'm telling you. Thank you so much for coming through, brother. So from near and far, wherever you are joining us from, the UK, the Caribbean, US, Canada, from wherever you are joining us in Africa, we say thank you so much for being on with us here on the Ironman Empowerment Podcast. My friend Neon, I invited him on last night. We were hanging out a little bit, and I said, "You need to come on the podcast." And he said, I'm going to be there. So thank you so much for being here, Neon. He told me he's going to join. Thank you for joining in his very first time on the podcast. And I'm sure it's not going to be his last time, because something that we say will be a blessing. Let me set this up and we'll dive right in the conversation, Pastor, because last week it was hot last week, and we really want to give the time. Bishop is back with us this morning. He had to run last week, but I'm sure he's back with us this morning, and we'll be talking about it again. The good, insane goodbye, and Rev, the amount of response from that conversation last week. People are looking forward, and they're getting ready for what it is that we are coming with on this morning. So let me set it up and we'll dive in. All right. So while goodbyes can be a difficult, very difficult and emotional, they also hold a profound significance that positively impact our lives. Goodbye can mark the end of a chapter, making way for a new beginning and allowing us to grow and evolve. They also provide an opportunity for closure, giving us the chance to reflect on the experiences or relationship that is ending and to learn from it. Moreover, a goodbye can foster gratitude, helping us to appreciate our time with someone or something and the memories we created. By acknowledging the good in goodbye, we can transform an often painful experience into a catalyst for growth, new adventures, and a deep appreciation for the people and the experiences that enrich our lives. And so this morning, we want to talk about the good in saying goodbye, the word that we often struggle to use by saying goodbye and also to say no. Goodbye. There is a good in saying goodbye. And last week, we started by exploring the good in saying goodbye. Good morning, Pastor Clive. Good morning, Bishop Upton Morris and Elder Edmund Muir. Welcome to the fore. We'll give you an opportunity to come in, let your voice be heard, and greet the masses.
Good morning, everyone. God bless you. Good to be here this morning. Hope everyone is having a wonderful day. The weather is nice outside. I heard over there in on the west side they're having some issues with the heat.
Yes.
But over here we're doing very well, cool and nice. Maybe some of you must thinking of coming to live in Montreal, but anyway, God bless you all. God bless you all. Good to be here. Looking forward to the
Yeah.
discussion this morning.
Thank you, Bishop. Elamior, we're, we're not hearing you coming through, sir. And so Pastor, while Elamir is touching his thing there, Bishop, God can't please them in the west. If it's cold, they're complaining it's -40. He's saying heat, they're complaining it's too hot. No wonder the wise men come from the east. So maybe they do need to make that move
You
and head
know,
over to the west. Is for settlement, sir. It's for settlement.
yeah. In the last few years, it's been like this, but it never used to. It used to be like, like really in the 20s. But in the last few years, like back in the 90s, early 2000, you don't leave your home still without a spring jacket. My winter jacket stay in my vehicle.
Climate change.
Because if
Climate change.
if it rains or if something just the cloud over, trust me, you have to pull for a winter jacket. But
Hmm.
now in the latter years, in the last maybe 2 3, not even around 5 years or so, it's becoming more pronounced where it's becoming hotter and
Yeah,
hotter.
that's what
um
climate change will do.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Elamior, can we? No, we're still we'll still give Elmer an opportunity. He's just having some technical glitches there, but we're gonna dive right into the program. Bishop, I'm gonna start with you since you had to run last week. We're gonna pick up with you, Bishop, on our conversation last week, the good insane goodbye. Bishop, and I want to throw you right in there by asking you this question. Bishop, are you able to share with us a personal experience where saying goodbye was difficult, but ultimately led to growth and new opportunities? Can you share with us?
Um, yeah, goodbye is always tough, especially when it comes on to family, right? And not necessarily a bad goodbye, but when one have to migrate to another country and so on, leaving father, mother, very, very good friends, church family, and knowing that going to a place that you basically know nobody,
Mm-hmm.
right? My wife was here, just my wife. I know zero person. When I immigrate from Jamaica to be here, and but since being here, it's been wonderful. I've grown a lot. Um, my friend circle have changed, and one thing that is I recognize also, because sometimes you're around certain type of people, and the only thing that is what that circle knows. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes God have to move you from one circle to the next, right? To develop your experience, to develop your vocabulary, to develop your growth, right? To allow you to think differently, and to see differently, and to understand differently, right? So saying goodbye is, can be like a surgery sometimes, right? But it really do helps you to to grow, right? To grow, to see things differently, right? To hear
Yes.
different things, to see different ministry, different calling, and so on. And sometimes God can't, he can, but God will not bless you, right? Or you can manifest into what God wants you to manifest into, or give you what He wants to give you, while you are where you are at, while you're the people with who you are at, right? Because they will hold you back. So sometimes God have to transplant you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, God have
Mm-hmm.
to take you up,
That's right.
transplant you. You cry, you scream, you bawl, right? And you will ignore all of that to bring you into a place where He wants you to be. And then you
That's
can
right.
say, after a while, you'll be able to say, boy, God, it was good, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you transplant me. At the moment, you never see it. But after a while, you recognize that it was certainly good what the Lord had done unto you. God bless,
Has
Mr.
done. Yeah, that is so powerful, Bishop, because oftentimes we don't grow in the same place that we are. And a lot of times
That's
we
right.
are looking for growth in a place that we have outgrown. A lot of
Mm.
time there's not enough when you look at even planting, there are sometimes that the soil isn't good. The soil is not conducive to the seed that is planted, and so the Lord will have to shift us out at times just to put us in a place that we're able to grow and to evolve and to move into the next level and become who we want us to be. And so
That's right.
sometimes saying goodbye is important because it moves around the comfort from around us. And even with an eagle, and if you look at the analogy of an eagle, and when it's time for the babies to come out of the nest, because on the outer layer of the eagle's nest is what we call spikes, or in the Caribbean, cassi or maca for those in Jamaica. Um, it's that on the outer layer, and then the inside of it is where the nest is padded. And so when it's their time to fly, what the eagle does, the mother, is to disturb the nest and remove those padding from the inside and expose the cassi or the maca or the spikes to get those babies out of the nest. It's time to fly, so they're no longer in that relaxed zone. And sometimes God has to disturb that nesting to really get us out and
That's
push
right.
us into our future. Pastor Clive,
Yes, sir. I like.
come on in, sir, and add to it.
You know what? While Bishop was talking, oftentimes we forget that um, things done by season.
Hmm.
Sometimes persons, if you don't move on when it's your season to move on, sometimes we're holding on, and God is saying, "Let it go. It's time to depart." The Bible says, um, the Bible have many verses or talks about so many different ways of saying goodbye. In Acts chapter 20, verses 37, 38, when the Apostle Paul and his friends cried when they were, departing, when they were saying their goodbyes. But it is necessary for you to say your goodbyes and do it in peace. Because sometimes if you don't, you find yourself, there's conflict comes up, and that's the time you're going to say your goodbyes, right? So it is good when the time when you have to move on with your life, and whether in a good way or always try to make it into a good way. Don't let it sit there until it becomes a bad saying of goodbye. Second Timothy chapter 4 verses 6, when Paul talks about finish his race and keeping the faith. It was time for him to leave. It's time for him to say goodbye. He would have wanted to stay, but he says, "I'm finished. I've run the race. It's time for me to leave." And I'm sure that he would have said that he's caught between between twain. He was between leaving and staying. But it's you have to know when, as it say. And then in Genesis chapter 31, it mentioned departing with the blessing, that God will watch over us while we are apart, right? So it is good when you can acknowledge when it's time to move on, and to say your goodbyes and say it in a good way. Persons come in your life for a season as well. Don't miss that season. Don't miss when it's time to let go and to embrace the future, and to see into. I remember back in the 90s when I was leaving Jamaica to come to Canada, and I had to say goodbye. My word, I had to uproot my entire life, pack everything up into a suitcase, reduce me down to a little suitcase, after having house, after having car, after having all this stuff, it becomes, it's a new beginning. I at the time I had my son, Armando. He was only 3, turning 4 years old in the 97, 98. And when we were coming here, I'm telling you, just two large suitcase, Bishop, and we were saying goodbye to everybody who we had known. And trust me, it wasn't easy at the time. But, little do we know that God would have to, uproot you, as you would say, Bishop, and then transplant you and put you somewhere else where God, after the years and years, you'd have realized the shift that God would have over your life, where God would have to move you from where you are to bring you to somewhere where He needs you, where He said, "Hey, this is the reason why I have you here, for a purpose." But if you don't, sometimes God wants to use you in a different part of the garden, and I call this world the garden. He move you from here to transplant you over here, and for you to flourish, because you're probably not getting enough sunlight over here. You're not getting enough exposure over here. And you're a creeper, and you need to be where more water is flowing, or whatever plant you are as an individual. God know where to transplant you, where to place you, and you just have to be able to allow God to be able to do that. So by you leaving, that's why the Bible talks about leaving and cleaving, right? You have to leave something so that you can do what God really wants you to do. And you will not see it sometime right there and then, but when you just stick it out, and allow it to happen, and allow it to come to pass, you will see, my goodness, if I didn't make this transition, if I didn't move, if I didn't. And then, Dr. Bryan, sometime when you look back over it, you realize that God placed you there so that you can help other person to make those transition. Because I realize that even, coming here and started a company with in early 2000, I think 2001, 2002, and so many persons would have come, and the company would be a blessing to them, and and a good transition as well, because as we here in North America know, it's not easy when you come to North America just to find a job like that. So that the company at times would be you call it a springboard for some people to be able to help them then come and land right on this doorstep of Pastor Clive, and then it helped them for a little while. And
That's
I
it.
don't, I don't stop them from moving on. I says, hey, this can be for a season.
Right.
You do yourself and then move on and settle. And some people stay. Some people. I have a person with me for 17 years. In working with me, and so God just know what He's doing. So embrace when you have to say goodbyes to see what God is doing with
Mhm.
you on the other side.
Thank you so much, Pastor Clive. Bishop, I want to come to you with a question, and I want to switch gear. I got some questions I want us to run through today, so I could really bring it out. Thank you so much, gentlemen. So we will talk about. So earlier we were talking about goodbye from the place of Pastor Clive and Bishop has shared their personal experience about transitioning and moving from one country to the next and saying goodbye and seeing the benefits and the blessing in doing it even now, where the Lord would have prospered them, where they are now planted. Bishop, if we're switching gear and we're moving back into relationship, which can be sexual or platonic, friendship or an intimate relationship there. I want to find out because there are persons who struggle with this, and oftentimes they know it's time to move, it's time to move on, but sometimes it leave that sense of guilt. I'll say leave that sense of guilt. Um, how do you handle that feeling, the feeling of guilt or responsibility when ending a relationship or a friendship? You're in a long term friendship, you're in a long term relationship, and you know it's time to end it, but yet there's a little guilt. How you deal with, how you work through this?
Yeah, thank you very much. Just to answer that question, I heard Ella Remachu, and not her, but I see right in the chat here. It's always good to transition with peace.
Mm,
And I think that is
That's
worth
right.
to explore,
mhm,
um, because at the same time, too, you do not want it to burn your bridge,
mhm,
right, when you leave, because sometimes, like Moses, God will take you out to bring you back,
mhm.
right? Um, and to be a blessing. And so the way how you leave is so important,
Important. That's
right?
right.
If it's possible for you to leave in peace, right? As a songwriter said, let's just kiss and say goodbye. Okay, okay. Right? I mean, if you can just leave in peace, it will be wonderful, right?
Hmm.
People might not agree with you, people might not see the reason why, but as long as you know it's the will of the Lord and you know the reason why, that is enough, because you can't live your life based on what somebody else think, what somebody else feel, and so on. Even if you make your own mistake, you are
Hmm.
more comfortable dealing with it, right? Yeah, and to your question now, it's always tough, to leave relationship, and we even relationships that are bad, right?
Hmm.
And so that's the reason why we see some people leave relationship where they were abused, um and taken disadvantage of, and they leave, and you still find them go back, right?
Hmm.
You still find them go back, right? And right, because saying goodbye is not always easy,
And do
right?
you think, Bishop, I don't want to cut you, but do you think it also can be the guilt of leaving what keep people going back? Like they just feel guilty that they left.
Sometimes it is the guilt, sometimes it's a lack of support system, right,
Mm.
out there, that when they leave they have nobody else to to talk
Turn
to,
to.
to to glean from, to help, right? And so as a result of that, they end up going back to the evil that they know, right?
Mm,
But one of the way is to, to deal with that guilt is to always have in front of you why you leave, right?
mm,
Have why you live is to always have in front of you the things that happen that push you to leave. And if you ever feel like going back or feel guilty, then you got to ask yourself the question: is this worth going back to? Okay, if this worth going back to, right? So those are some of the questions that you really have to ask yourself. If you feel guilty and so on, right? Because otherwise we can find ourselves like the children of Israel who holler and bawl to God noon, evening, morning, right? And after they left, when a little hard time catch them, they begin to say, I wish to God I
mhm.
was still in Egypt.
Egypt,
All right.
yes.
And they forget about the beating. They forget about that they have to the building that they have to build, the slavery that they were under, and just the hard work that they were doing. And all them talk about is cucumber,
Mhm,
right? And and onion, right? Right. And so sometimes leaving relationship can sometimes can be like that. When a little hard time touch you, you all of a sudden the enemy make you forget the stuff that you used to go through, right? In order, right? That caused you to leave, right? So that's why I said always have in the back of your mind, if you want to write it down on the paper, these are the reasons I left,
mhm,
and if I go back, this is what I am going back to. Does it worth it?
mhm,
Does it
mhm.
worth
So
it?
powerful.
And that
So
will help
powerful.
Yeah.
that will help you the way how you feel, and that will help your guilt.
So powerful. Pastor Clive, I want to piggy on something. Thank you, Bishop, on that because I wanna add so we keep on moving. Um Ray McHugh make a type in the chat and he's asking a question and I want to bounce it off you and it's right along this line. How do you handle is his question? How do you handle the fact that you need to transition but you're crippled by the unknown? And it's kind of Bishop somewhat answered a while ago in his question, but we'll go. But you're crippled by the unknown and also by what you think others will say. What are some of the practical approach that can be used so you know that you need to transition, but you're just crippled by I'm not sure what is going to happen when I make this transition? What are people going to say? What
You
will the
know,
people say?
it thank you so much for that one. The unknown is what you don't know. You don't know if you move from here and what people is going to say.
Mm,
um Sometimes you have to make a decision based on your physical health. You're at a place in your life where you know you need to move on. It could be from friendship, relationship. It's causing your high BP, and you're saying, boy, we're Christian here. Let's just be frank. And you're in a situation where you're getting sick and getting more sick, and you say, boy, if I make this decision, so it's going to affect me for the rest of my life. And you are nervous, you don't know how to move forward. The best for me is to do what you feel within yourself, because if you stick it out and 20 years later you're still doing the same thing we could have done 20 years prior to, you wake up and say, man, why didn't I do this? Is the unknown is what shape you and build you to become the person that you are. You're not sure. I was watching something on the internet where this monkey put his hand into this hole and he hold on to it, but he wouldn't let it go because he wants to know what's in there. But because he make a fist, he could not pull his hand out.
mhm,
So you don't know until you let go, so that you're that free to do what you need to do. No, we're not promoting that person need to jump out of their relationship. But we know
Right.
that we as
And not
Christians,
only relationship, but moving on in, maybe it can be a job, it can be relationship,
yeah,
it can be
job,
the
we,
place that you live, it can be the friendship you have, very broad, you know.
it is very broad, and
Mhm.
you won't know. You just have to follow you. You just have to follow what you're feeling in the moment, and do your own personal research. You got to make sure that, look here, when you step off, you're not going backwards. You're going forward.
Mhm.
I had to make those decisions in my life. I was in a bad state of relationship when I was in my 20s. When I was around 27, never forget, I went to the doctor, and the doctor checked my pressure. When he checked my pressure, he says, "You're too young for this blood pressure to be so high." He had me sitting down in the office, and man, I was so tired, I fall asleep, I wake up, and I'm like, why is the doctor not, come back as yet in the room? And the doctor come and check my pressure every so often. He says, "Sit there, man. Just sit there." He was checking to see what really causes, if it's just rest I need or something. And when he keep on checking, I was there for a good hour and a half. And finally the doctor, he came, and when he checked, he says, "Man, your pressure is too high for a young man." And then he started to talk to me like a counselor. He was very concerned. And and he checked my pressure, but he wasn't telling me the reason why he was asking me all these questions. He will ask me some questions, check my pressure will be normal, talk to me about, so what about home life? And then when the man reached home life, and the man pressed the pressure thing, brother, the pressure thing fly through the roof. He said, "You have a problem." He said, the doctor looked at me and says, "This thing will kill you. This thing will kill you." Sometimes you have to learn to let it go.
Learn to let it go.
And,
Thank
and,
you.
and it was hard because you have to transition, and you have kids, and I'm just saying this because I'm telling you, the Bible said that, "I wish above all that you prosper
Mhm. And
and
be
be
good
well
health.
in good health
Health.
as your soul prosper."
Prosper.
And I'm telling you, it was going to kill me. I mean, I still have high blood pressure from then until now. And it's not my high blood pressure, is the blood pressure.
Yes, that's right. Thank you, Pastor. One of the thing, and let's add to it, that transitioning to the unknown can be scary. It's the reality of the situation. It can be scary because you're moving from a place that you're certain, you're sure about what you have in this place. And now you're moving to something that you have never embarked, never explored. You're not sure if it will work. And so, what will often have you down is fear. Pastor, Bishop, fear will cripple our faith. In order to transition to the unknown, you have to tap into your inner being and the faith that you have, knowing that when I make this transition, this is going to work. Sometimes the Lord have to put you even in a place where you have no other choice than to make this transit, than to move from where you are. Step out of your comfort zone. Step out of where you know into the unknown. When you move into the unknown, you have no other choice than to trust the leading of God, knowing I am feeling this in the recesses of my spirit. And so I know that God is moving me to this place. And so as a result of that, you know for sure that, hey, God is moving me here, and I have to make this move. So then I'm saying to you, tap into the unknown and don't allow fear to cripple your faith, because fear will cripple you to the place that you can't even catch yourself. Move into the unknown. Some of the practical ways I always say is to pray about it. Don't make a move until you really earnestly pray about it, consider it, talk about it, look from it from every angle. As they'll say in the Caribbean, don't jump out of a frying pan and jump in the direct fire. You want to make sure that this is the moving of God. And I often say, when you feel it in the recesses of your spirit and you just can't shake it, it come to a point where you just got to make a move and see what is there. What is there to lose? Because the reality is, sometimes beyond that curtain, beyond that stuff, is a new and fresh dimension, a greater that you're yet to unlock. So step away from that fear, step into it, and allow the Lord to move in your direction. We're going to take a break, and we're going to come back with Elder Muir. So stay right here with us on the Iron Man Empowerment Podcast, and we will be right back.
Are you ready to amplify your message and reach hearts with purpose?
Introducing HGG Advertising, your partner in spreading the gospel and connecting with the Christian community.
Churches, Christian-based businesses, listen up.
With HGG Advertising, you can reach your audience through powerful radio campaigns.
Engage hearts, inspire minds, and grow your community with HGG Radio, which is already reaching 136 countries worldwide.
We specialize in promoting Christian values and helping businesses aligned with faith-based principles.
Whether it's a church event or your business rooted in Christian values, HGG Advertising is here for you.
Connect with us and let's share your message with purpose.
HGG Advertising, spreading the gospel, connecting communities. Email us today at ads@hggradio.ca. That's ads@hggradio.ca. Or call us today at 825-343-4486.
HGG Radio. But I've got good news.
Join Prophetess Althea Stoddard Ministries for the Prophetic Gathering Conference 2024 under the theme Unlocking Kingdom Manifestation. Hear from Pastor Prophetess Angela Moulton, Pastor Nicholas Chambers, Pastor Jason McKenzie, Apostle Winston Rowe, Prophet Kenyatta McLeish, Pastor Sarah Taylor, and Evangelist Sophia Blackman. Come worship and sing along with Kevin Downswell, Crystal Reed, and Dawn Martin. Don't miss this transformative experience on July 20 from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the Edmonton Inn Conference Center. Tickets are $200. This includes your meals and conference package. Register now and make payment at althea_stoddard@yahoo.com or call Marshallie at 780-915-1316 or Janice at 780-691-0978 for more details. Get ready to unlock Kingdom Manifestation.
I've got good news. Something that will make you smile. God told me to tell you, it's gonna be alright.
Hey, 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 the Saturday Hub is back online on HGG Radio. Come join me, Auntie Renee, at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central Time, and 12 noon Eastern Time. It's gonna be a great, great, great celebration. Children, you don't want to miss it.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on the Ironman Empowerment Podcast. If you're just joining us, we are talking about the good in saying goodbye. We are delivering part 2 of this conversation with you. Of course, we are talking about moving on and stepping out into the unknown and allowing God to lead you and to direct you. Elder Muir, thank you for joining with us. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning to you, Dr. Bryan, and Bishop and Pastor Clive, and all those wonderful listeners.
Thank you so much. Rev, I'm going to jump right in and I'm going to ask you a question because oftentimes when we talk about moving on, there is a level of boundary that we must maintain. And so I want to ask you, how can you maintain boundaries or distance after ending a friendship or a relationship? How do you maintain boundaries there?
Very good question. Maintaining boundaries is not an easy thing at times because there's a lot of factors involved when we think about maintaining boundaries after moving on. For one, what's the relationship with this individual? And how often do we see each other in different circles? These are things to consider, really. And as Christians, as you move on, it's never about malice or any such thing. But I believe moving on, it gives persons an opportunity to embrace personal growth and development. In other words, what it does, it teaches you about the intricacies of you as an individual and how you react to situations, your adaptability, how you adapt, and how you just deal. And so it's not easy to create boundaries. Boundaries are created on the go, and then you can realize that, hey, we have moved on. So it's not like before where everything we would probably have a conversation, or you know this, I will know that, and we call. And, the boundaries are we keep safe distance in communication, because it's very important to communicate. I want to go back to the Bible. Remember, we had Apollos and we had Paul, Barnabas. We had the separation of Paul and Barnabas, and it didn't mean that they were enemies at all. It only meant that they had to spread the message in a certain vineyard, a certain area. So as long as we can unite and spread the message, and the council in Acts chapter 15 also, there were differences, but then they came together and they had an understanding. What they do over there, leave them. What we do over here is completely different. So just leave them and let them be. And so it is that when we separate, we have to recognize that we have to leave some things and some individuals and some situation. So it's very important for us then to embrace this transformation and use it as a tool for us to create these boundaries as they come. As I said before, it's not something that I'm going with a fixed mind. Oh, I'm not going to go there because I don't want to see you, or I'm not going to do. But you have created the boundaries in order to guide you not to find yourself into that situation that you were probably in before. I hope that helps you in answering that question, Dr. Bryan.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. And one other question, and today we kind of want to delve a lot, and I'm not sure why I go in this direction in terms of relationship, because Rev, a lot of time when and Bishop had mentioned it, that sometimes people stay and they stay in the situation, or they stay in it because they don't know anywhere else. They don't have another community. They don't have a community. They don't have that support system, and so sometimes they stay longer than God really wants us to stay there. Sometimes they stay longer than they want to stay there, because a lot of time people are in situation, they check out long time, they check out. And last night even we were chatting with some of my brethren, and we're talking about sometimes women can check out of a relationship long before the man even know it. A woman can check out long time. She's just going through the process, working on her departure plan, but she already check on, emotionally disconnected, neck down, from the neck down, just neck down, dead, already check out, and just kind of working what's the exit plan, what's the exit strategy. So sometimes people stay longer than really they're supposed to be, and the Lord is kind of pushing you outside of that, like step out of that, get away from there. And so then, if this is the case, that you move out or move forward, how do you then rediscover your identity? Because sometimes we stay so long in something that depletes you, that you have lost your identity in it, because you have remained so small, sometimes to make the other person seems big, or to make them feel better about themselves. You're in a place that no longer serve you for so long that you have lost who you are at your core. Now, how do you rediscover your identity, your interests outside of that relationship? Elamir, I'm coming back to you with that.
Okay, and you're just pouring in the questions. Very good question again, Dr. Bryan. Regaining one's identity. You are so correct. It's very easy to lose your identity in situations where you have been put down, or you're just waiting it out. It's very easy, and it means therefore that to regain your identity, then you have to now step outside of your comfort zone. Stepping outside of your comfort zone simply means now you're going to do things that you might not be so confident about, but you're trusting God about it, right? You have to take the decision to say, hey, you know what? Greater is in me than whatever is surrounding, or whatever cloud that I'm passing through, or how persons perceive me. I know that greater is within. So even though, like Moses, I may not have the speech or the language of the people, but what I have is God that I rely on to pull me, to push me, to allow the words to come from my mouth.
even though I was not put in a position where I could grow to that significant proportion. No, I have said goodbye to this situation, entering into this new scenario or new place. Now I am going to just trust God, just allow God to lead me. Because I promise you this morning, if every individual in this world would allow God to lead, then we would have so much successful people in this world. And I believe that finding one's true self and identity sometimes takes time. It takes purpose, because you have to be purposeful about it. And when you try, sometimes you will fall. But keep on trying. Seek audience with others. Speak to people. You see, you want Dr. Bryan, you mentioned something last week, like you went into your new job. It's a transition, but then you recognize that there are things that you need to do in order to elevate yourself. So then you try now to get the necessary qualifications in. So in regaining yourself, sometimes you have to go back and get some things that are necessary for you. Maybe you have to go back to school. Maybe you have to change your companionships, your circle, change it to individuals who will see you for you, positive outlook on you, and will keep on motivating you. Don't go in a place where they, listen, that is why eagles are so different. They fly high. They don't stay with chickens. Now, if you want to find your identity and you know within that this is more, there's more for you, you got to find your niche with persons that think like you, that persons are at the place that you want to go.
Yes.
And don't hang around and wallow in self-pity. I could have, but no. You need to get up, man. You need to put your socks on, man. Get your suit out and put on your belt, gird up your waist, and say, yes, I can and I will. And do not watch criticisms, because persons will criticize, and there will be many backlash to this too. But you have to have that inner strength to know that when I am criticized, I am only doing what is right. God bless. God bless you. I hope
Thank
that
you so much. Yes, thank you so much. Bishop, I want to labor here with it for a while, and I want to get your take. Talk to a brother who have been in a relationship or been in relationships in searching for that someone. Because I was talking to a friend on last night. He's unsaved, not a Christian guy, very lovely young man, and been in relationships where seemingly not working, cannot find that right one. He's at that place ready for settle, can't seem to find that right one. Think become frustrated, think become hurt because he has stayed in stuff that seemingly start to lose himself in it. How do you talk to a young man who have been there so long, too long, search long, and now have lost himself, that he start to even develop self-doubt, and within that place have lost his own identity and interest? How do you help him to pick up himself, to get back to a state of being where it's wholesome? Bishop.
I was listening to a message many years ago. I think the topic was watch them dogs. And the preacher talks about a man who was barbecuing, and a dog sit down and watch him barbecue. And the man just step aside a while to get something while he have that steak on the barbecue. And when the dog watch him and see that he step away, the dog run, grab that piece of hot steak from off the barbecue and run with it. And he's bawling, he's squealing because it's burning him, but he won't let it go. Okay? It's hurting him, but he will not let him go. And I say that because relationship can be like that sometimes. It's hurting you, it's burning you. You're hollowing to this one, you're bawling to this one, you see counsel from this one, but you refuse to let it go, right? you're looking at the opinion of others, what people going to think, what people going to say, and you refuse to let it go. But you are the one who have really been hurt in this situation. And Pastor Clive, talks about it. And sometimes what you need to do is to be alone. Okay? Right? One time, the Bible said concerning Jacob, for Jacob always have people around him. Let him leave his mother and father house. The only time he was alone was when he come to Bethel or Luz, right? And get an encounter with God. And then from he leave, they go to Uncle Laban house, surrounded by women, surrounded by cattle, surrounded by Uncle Laban and his workers and all this kind of stuff. And the next time he find himself alone, then he have that encounter. And then he was asked, what's your name? Because it's only when you are alone that you know who you really are. Okay, right? And sometimes it takes to be alone for you to define you.
That's powerful, Bishop.
Ooh,
right?
Yeah, this is some gems.
Right? And so when he defined himself, right, then because he defined himself, that's when God decided to help him. And said, okay, now that you have told me the truth about you, no, your name is no longer going to be like that. You're no longer going to be like that. And sometime in relationship, you got to take a break, right? You got to develop the courage to go, right, to find out who you are, right? Because a lot of times you're in that relationship and you're saying, well, I've lost my identity and so on. No, it's because you don't know who you really are. Right? And you think that this is who you are, right? Because who you are, you attract what you who you are. You attract who you are, right? But what happened now is that sometimes this relationship really shows you who you are. And you look at yourself in that relationship, because that relationship becomes a mirror to you, right? Become your mirror, and you look in the mirror and you don't like what you see. And so now you get frustrated, not only because you don't like what you see, but because you want to change what you see. And then you begin to blame the other person in the relationship. Right. So what you need to do is to step out, look at yourself, be honest with yourself. You got to be honest with yourself. Don't think it's dangerous for man to think
higher than himself, higher than he truly is, right?
Himself. And sometimes you're in a relationship and the relationship show you exactly who you are, and you think you are higher, right? But because there's something in you that's pulling you to higher, and so you got to step out of that. Be by yourself for a while and be quiet. The Bible talks about study to be quiet. And that's a powerful scripture. Study to be quiet. So sometimes you got to take yourself away and study to be quiet, right? And concentrate on you and work on you. Go ahead.
Sorry, Bishop. I just want to ask a question. With reference to what you have just said, is there a time limit to you taking yourself away, or does it just work any and anyhow?
I used to have a Ford Windstar. Well, Ford wants sue you guys for this. You have insurance, right, Pastor Clive? Right? Because I work on that car, do so much maintenance on that car till me and the dealer become good friend. The guy at the dealership become good friend. And I take it to a garage one time because you need to get rid of this car, right? And he said to me, I said, no, I want to fix it. He said, well, yeah. And I said, yeah, I want to get rid of it too, And he said, when you're tired of spending money on this, you get rid of it, right? When you get really frustrated and tired of it, right? Until you can't function anymore, you just refuse. That's when you will decide to leave. Once you are still there, it means then that you have not come to the end of your rope, right? But when you come to the end of your rope, that's when you are going to decide to leave. It doesn't matter who talks to you, who counsel you, who pray for you. It's all in you. You are the one, right? What God decided to go, right? So sometimes you just need to be by yourself, man. Get away from it. Take a break, right? See yourself, right? And if you want to leave in peace, tell them it's not them, it's you. Okay. Right. So you don't throw any blame. You don't be like Adam, right? You just say, you know what, it's me. I just need to work on me. I don't think I'm ready for this right now. And you leave. And sometimes the blessedness is in blessed quietness, right? Is when you get your peace back, when you're all by yourself. The problem is, and Mr. This and then close, is that a lot of persons wanted to run from one relationship to the next. Okay, right? So you're in a relationship, it's not working, and you're looking, so you know what, this ain't working, man. And so while you're in this relationship, you're looking for another relationship. And sometimes the relationship that you really need to have is a relationship with yourself. Right? Because you need a relationship with you. Don't have no relationship with you. How are you going to have a relationship with somebody else?
This is deep, Bishop.
Right? You don't know who you are.
So you're asking for what you don't have, or you can't give.
That's it. Right? So leave, have a relationship with yourself, know who you are, know your worth, know your calling, know your person, your purpose, know your gifting, know what God have put you on earth to accomplish, know your assignment. And when you know all of these stuff, right, then now when you, for the other relationship, you're going to look for somebody who can help you with this, because a woman is a helpmate. Never forget that. A woman will put down everything that she knows, her career, doesn't matter what people, to help you as a man. When you don't know what your purpose is, what you're called to do, who you are, that's frustration to a woman.
Ooh.
Right? And so know who you are, right, before you go into a relationship. And ladies, don't one of the first question you need to ask a man, what are you here for? What are your purpose? What are your goals? What are your desire? Well, how can I help you to accomplish any of these stuff? If they go, wow, that's deep, I really don't know. No, that's not the relationship for you. Or you're going to be frustrated all the time while you are in this relationship. If they are here and say, boy, you're sexy, you have a cocoa back of shape, let's want some good loving. No. Because it's going to come a time when the loving is over, when it's done, and so on, right? And anyway, let me leave it there. I'm going to something.
Bishop,
right?
these are some deep stuff, Bishop. No, I mean this is solid thing. I love this. Welcome to the Ironman Empowerment Masterclass, because this was a masterclass. Really, really powerful, Bishop. You said something and it really hit me. We need to study to be silent, and sometime we need to just take that silent time for ourselves. In rediscovering who we are, it means that we need to be alone. Sometimes we need to be alone. That's so powerful, Bishop. Being alone really allows us to start searching ourselves to see who we are. And when we know who we are, then we have that bandwidth, that space, that room to know who we want in our lives. And so we can receive that when it comes, and we can reject it when that's not what we want, because we have a clear sense of identity, a clear sense of knowing who we are. Ain't that powerful? A clear sense. Just type in the chat. Sometime you have to be alone. These are gems. Hashtag study to be silent. That's a whole message you can preach even right there, Bishop. It's powerful. Pastor Clive, just there's a hush just fell over Jerusalem. So just kind of add to that.
Oh my goodness, Bishop. Yeah. It when you really think about it, you see, making up noise in a situation, causing yourself frustration. As you said, the scripture says that we need to study to be silent. Sometimes you have to just be still. Sometimes you have to just watch and see. Making up noise sometimes will just cause more stress and anxiety, where you're feeling more frustrated with yourself and so forth and so on. So you have to definitely you know, find you and try to study to find you again. So by studying to find you is by just be still and finding you, and allow yourself to come in. And sometimes you will feel guilty, like, is the problem me? Is it, and Bishop would have say, yeah, his problem is you. I want to find me again. I want to find you're losing yourself. You're losing your identity. You're losing who you become. You find yourself in a relationship. You find yourself at a job, wherever you find yourself, and you're not happy. When you get up in the morning, how do you know? How do you know that this thing is causing you BP? How do you know? When you wake up in the morning, do you have energy to get up to face that day? When you finish at the end of the day, do you come home and sit outside in your car or sit outside on the step
Yes,
and you want to go inside? You sit there for hours and hours, and inside is not. You don't want to go inside, and when you do go inside, you want minimal conversation, or you just don't want to be in that space. And back to the question that I asked earlier, is that the unknown. You won't know until you see. I tell people all the time I can't play draft, Dr. Bryan. So when you can't play draft, when you move, you can't move back. You have to just
It's a
move.
forward. Yeah, it's a forward move. You have to
thing.
recover
You
after you
have
make
to.
the move.
And it's not going to get easy. And you're going to have people talk about you. You're going to be ostracized. You're gonna be trampled on. I look at it as like a stampede. You're going to be stamped on. You're going to be talked about. And again, be still, because you know where you are. You know who you are. I find myself into a situation recently, where I had to say goodbye, and in the whole situation, persons could not figure me out because I stopped talking. Oh yeah, I just stopped talking, and the reason why, because
Studying to be silent in that moment.
yes, and you may say the wrong thing and you may do the wrong thing. You may say something that you cannot take back your words, and the Bible talks about offense must come, but woe be unto the man. I don't want to say something and go offend somebody in a wrong way, and when I say it, I can't take it back. So what I do, I become silent. Oh, he didn't say. What did he say? He didn't say nothing. What did he do? He didn't do a thing. Just be still. Just be silent, because nobody can say you say or you do. You just take actions. And when you take actions, trust me, just mean what you mean. Say your action, speak for yourself, and that's it. Just say it, and just when I say mean say it, just do what you're gonna do, and you're gonna feel bad in the moment, but you look at it and say, is this the right thing? You mulch over it. I had a situation from May to deal with, and I mulch over it. And when you mulch over it, to be precise, the 26th, right? And I mulch over it. And when I make a final decision, listen to me, nobody could take back that decision that I made, because you look at it from every handle. You look at it from every
angle, yes.
Don't quick to make long-term decision.
Amen.
Don't just jump up and says, I'm a spontaneous person. I just do things off the fly. When you do stuff like that, it will come out to hurt you.
Yes.
When you are doing a move, when you're making a transition, when you're saying your goodbyes, just you mulch on it, and you look at the good in the situation, and you take that good to the extreme best that you can get it, and you look at the good, the bad at the situation, and look and say how bad it is or how bad it can become, and you look at the ugly of the situation, the good, bad, and the ugly. So at the end of the day, if I continue with all of this thing's going to be ugly. So you look at the good, says, boy, this thing here, the good of it, if I stick it out, it looks good. We sugarcoat it and cover it up and make it work. but it looks good to the persons out there. And they said, boy, you're striving, you're this, and this is happening, so forth. And a lot of ladies does this, have a husband that the Bible talks about a woman that she married to a man that is a brutish. And she stick out with the man. And that's sometimes relationship, right? But in this case, I'm talking about me now. And you look at the good, and he says, even though this thing can be good and you can fix it and make it look good, but you have to look at the bad, the extreme bad of it. And sometimes you have to just let it go, because you're going to get ugly, because at the very end you said, boy, I wish if I had let it go 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
And you have maintained certain integrity of your life.
Yes.
And when you let it go, trust me, it's not going to feel good. It's not going to feel good. But you have to do what's best for you and for your own sanity.
Yes.
Go back to Jeremiah. The Bible says, I know the plan. And, sometimes we need to understand that as Christians, that we judge things from a righteous place. You see, God is giving you discernment. And if you have those discernment and you're using, sometimes we some person may look at you and says, well, where's the spirit of compassion? You have to look at compassion. You have to look at the spirit of discernment. You have to look at the spirit of, what is the intentions of other persons. So there's a lot of things that is involved in you making a decision to let go, to say your goodbyes, to move forward. And the best thing, as I said earlier, is to be still, is to be silent. Get into a place where you're silent and you're thinking about it. Just like me making a move. You know how many years I wanted a cabinet shop, Rev? I love cabinet making. I love cabinet making. And for years I said, boy, if I do it, it's going to take away time. If I do it, this is going to happen. This is what happened. And it took me years upon years and years and years and years and years until finally I transitioned and started to take the gradual baby step into doing it. And plan it out and say, hey, I'm going to get a manager. Let them manage it. Let it this. And all of that stuff. So when you're making those plans, when you're making those decisions, you've got to seek the face of God. That's one. And let me shock you. Let me shock you. Sometimes God wants you to make a decision. Sometimes God wants you to make the choice. Sometimes God wants you to, because you learn by your experience. And God wants, that's why he brought the animals to Adam, to see what he will call them. Sometimes God throw you into a situation to see what you're going to do with the situation, how you're going to handle it. And based on how you handle it, God will throw more at you and says, okay, you manage this one. Okay, good. Let me help you to manage. So now, when you start managing, say, boy, you make a right decision. So now God will now step in and start to navigate with you and help you through the decision that you make. But if you don't stretch that rod out, you're going to stop and get killed on that side of Jordan or that side of the Red Sea.
Thank you, Pastor Clive. Powerful illustration there. I wanna come back because I see there's 2 questions in chat. We want to take those on before we go. We're just about 15 minutes to wrap. My question is here, or my suggestion is that in everything we do, and so based on what we're talking about, I want you to be able to see the good in saying goodbye. Oftentimes, and I want to put this on as a disclosure, oftentimes, Bishop, oftentimes, Pastor, Elder, we will not see the good before making the decision. Sometimes the good is afterwards.
Say it again.
After you've made the decision and you have stepped out into the unknown, you have stepped out into the greater good, you have stepped out into this no longer serves me, then you would say, it was good that I had made that decision. Had I stayed longer, then this would have happened. Had I stayed longer, I wouldn't have been here. So the good in saying goodbye In saying goodbye in the moment can be painful. In saying goodbye in the moment can really hurt you. It can affect sometimes those around you. But in the latter part of it, when you look at that goodbye, you said, it was good that I had said goodbye because I've seen now where I am, where the Lord have brought me, where I am today. And had I not said goodbye, I would have still remained in that situation that no longer served me. Bishop, it's important for us to understand that our need changes. There are times, and we mentioned, there are persons around us that are not evolving. That can hold back your growth. And so it's very important that you surround yourself with people who are growing, who are evolving, who are going places. You identify those who are oftentimes even where you want to be. Because I don't want to hang around folks that are still on my level, are not going anywhere, that are not progressing, that we can progress together. You want to be around persons who are progressing and persons who are already where you desire to go. And so sometimes when you find yourself entrapped in a place of stagnation and with people with stagnation, then you have to pronounce goodbye and move on. Sometimes you have to pronounce what we call the misfa in the Bible. Laban and pronounce this. May the Lord watch between me and thee while we're absent one from the other. Sometimes we need to pronounce the misfa and we need to move on. I wanna ask a question to Elder Muir, and then I'm gonna come and let Bishop take these on and Pastor Clive as we move into the wrap here. So we have about 10 minutes. We want to go quick. Elder Muir, I see somebody mention about self-care. And my question is, how do you prioritize self-care and self-compassion even when we're saying we must put an end to this? How do you prioritize self-care? Because Bishop mentioned a lot about, self-care and taking that moment of silence and by yourself and study to be alone and be by. And how do you prioritize that? Because that's now self-care, because now you have to protect your sanity and maintain that so that you don't lose your equilibrium balance. How do you prioritize self-care here?
Thank you again, Dr. Bryan. I believe that entire context of self-care and emotions is what makes it hard, is what brings in the fear, the excitement, the doubts, and it can be, of course, overwhelming. As it is overwhelming, it's sometimes hard to think. And that is why it's good to have that time alone. And I believe, as Bishop mentioned, time alone, it's never really time alone. The time alone that we seek actually comes with what? God. It's time with God, because that is the time you realize that God ministers through you and to you. And so the decisions become so difficult because, especially a person that has a loving heart, a heart that cares, it's like you become tied into it. Am I doing the right thing? Is this what God would have me to do? And you start looking at other persons. How will this affect them? Whilst you were talking, Dr. Bryan, I was thinking then, if you're moving away from those who are at your level, isn't that then selfish in a manner? Mm-hmm. But there you go. Because
I'm prioritizing me.
It comes back to you. So mm-hmm. It's selfish in a sense. But this form of selfishness,
it's selfless to prioritize you. I don't see
yeah. So this form of selfishness can be selfless, because if you don't, you're going to be pulled down. Mm-hmm. And did God say to you that He's putting you on a trajectory to be brought down or to be pulled up? Mm-hmm. And so we have to be focused on what is happening in the environment that we are. Is it that I'm going to let that love that is on the inside prevent me from fulfilling what God would have had for me? So there you go. It's about fulfilling that which God has deposited in you. So then it might seem selfish on the outside, but indeed it is not selfish. It is fulfilling what God has already ordained and predestined for your life. But you can only do that when you identify that, hey, I must move on.
Yeah, and prioritize you, you
And
know.
there, yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. Now you get that whole concept of prioritizing you as an individual. Because when you prioritize you, you're putting the work of God ahead of you. So now
Mhm.
you're being selfless and not selfish in your endeavor. And this is how I believe persons got to. The Bible says only a fool trusts his heart, you know.
Mm.
And I use that. I use that because sometimes our heart want to do something, but does it make sense in the long run?
Mhm.
So we have to allow God time alone and let
Right.
God fix it for us. We cannot fix it for ourselves. Don't rely on how we feel about the situation, because if we rely on how we feel, we cannot be a Christian. Isn't that the truth?
Yes.
It is the truth. So we
Right.
just have to allow God. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Trust in the Lord with all thy heart. Lean not to your own understanding, but in all thy ways you acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. We have about 6 minutes on the Adman Empowerment Podcast before we get to the close. Pastor, Bishop, I want to come to you, and then I'm going to come to Pastor with the questions. We have about 2-3 minutes to answer, and then we are going to move. Pastor Ella Ray McHugh, I want to thank everyone in the chat. Let me say that. Just thank you for chiming in. Sharon Carter said, sometimes we make permanent decision over temporary situation, and persons are chiming in that silent is gold, and Marsha Ben. And she said something as well, and I just want to acknowledge it, and we're going to move to ask her question. She said, Bishop, sometimes understanding who you are or what you're worth start from a young age, being reinforced by the guardian. And so that is why parenting is very important, because we teach our children self-worth, what they worth. But sometimes the parents don't even understand themselves what they worth to pass it down. But
Wow.
you see, that's why it's very important for us to identify who we are so it can pass on down to the generation. My grandfather is always the one who taught me about that, and I've been passing that on to other men. Who you are, how you work, how do you show up in this world? Because people treat you the way you show up, and when you know who you are, then you will not allow some things to happen or somebody to give you less than who you are. So those things are very, very important. And so you are so right there, Marsha Ben. Reverend Ray McHugh said, oftentimes people transition to another place. Bishop, I'm coming to you with this, but come to the next place with their bad habits from a previous place and want to bring it into the new relationship or new ministry. Bishop, as a pastor, how do you handle it? Coming from this church, this is the way we do it over here. And now I come over here, you don't do it this way. This is how I'm used to it, and you should do it this way. We develop some habits, we develop some behaviors, and we want it to happen on this side. Bishop, how do you handle it? Talk to us.
Sometimes we transfer cancer. Um, oh, what I mean by that is that somebody's not working good over there. They're not functioning. They're lazy and so on. And sometimes when we don't want to lose them, we take them because we don't want to call it fire. But somebody
Mhm.
said, no, we must be slow to hire and quick to fire. It's only in
Mhm.
the apostolic church we don't fire people.
Yes.
Okay, once you're a minister for all of your life. Once you're elder, you're all, even when they're not doing nothing.
Yes.
Right. They stay there, right? And so they're not functioning. And what we do, we take them from one department, put
And
them
move
in
them.
another department, right? So what we are actually doing is transferring the cancer.
Mm.
Right. That's what we are actually doing, right? And so then it's important that when I ordain somebody or anything like that, I give them a job description.
Yes.
Did a written job description, sit down, talk to them, and said, okay, this is what the job entails. This is what is expected of you. This is what you're supposed to do. Line upon line. Sometimes it's 2 pages, sometimes it's 3 pages, explaining everything one and one. Okay, right? And yeah, so and if that person can't manage them, then they let it know right there, boy, this is too much, and so on, right? Interview people, talk to people, especially those who are coming from other churches. Very,
Mhm.
very important. Have a talk sometime with the previous pastor. Sometimes we're so glad to get somebody because they were a minister, because they were a preacher, and so on, and so on. But it's good to talk to somebody. I give you one example. There was somebody in my church, a man who, I noticed certain behavior, and I went and sit down and talk to him, and and said, "Boy, I've noticed some behavior, man. You're that type of man." "No, pastor, no." I say, "You man, don't lie to me, no man. I have the Holy Ghost. Don't lie." "Well, you answer, boy, I did go through some stuff and I was abused when I was smaller and uncle and this and that." I say, "Okay, no problem. You know what? I will help you through this. I will want to fast and pray. Someday fast and pray. You know, be all the man left, right?" And then the next thing I found, he was going to another church, right? And they put him in charge of young boys, kids to work with,
Ooh.
right? And I didn't get involved because I asked my bishop then, what should I do? Because I don't want to go there and hurt people, kids, and the bishop advice was that you leave it alone. They are no longer under your ministry or calling, and every pastor need to have some kind of discerning, and they can sue you for whatsoever. So I left it alone, right? But the thing is, right, you need to have some kind of discerning. You need to do your homework. You need to do your talk. Stop be quick to hire. Stop be quick to hire. Don't be so quick to hire. Watch them. And we don't have much time. But my final thing is that, when we the church that I'm coming from, Emmanuel, but then Bishop Thomas, it doesn't matter what gift you come with, what they used to call you. You have to sit down for 1 year before you can get any position at all in the church. And I asked him why. And he said it takes at least 1 year to know somebody. At least. So don't let the anointing fool you and the singing fool you and their, the pulpit work get a hold of you. It takes time to know people. So they come, let them sit down there for a while, right? And if they sit down there for a while, then you watch them, right? Then the real character begin to come out. Then you know what to do with it. God bless you, sir.
Powerful, Bishop. Powerful stuff. Thank you so much. Don't be so quick to hire, and a lot of time we do that, Bishop, for in truth, when persons come new, we quick, and I've seen that so much in church. Somebody come new, we quick, and we take them and we push them in stuff because we want them to stay, and then afterwards we have issues. And I've seen that lately in a ministry I just left, lately, Pastor Clive. And I'm seeing that in a ministry that I just left, and then the pastor complained, and I said, "Don't complain to me. Call the person and talk to him. That's on you right there." So take our time. Powerful stuff. Our final question, Pastor Clive, we're coming to you. Should we tell people goodbye right away, like how they told the others goodbye, or should we be the one to try and change behavior or habits? If yes, how deterrent or good can that be? So, Bishop, other persons tell them goodbye. They come over here, Pastor Clive, brother. They come over here. They're with us. He's saying, just like somebody tell them goodbye and dismiss them, should we be quick to say goodbye to them? Or should we try and change those behaviors? Well, when we can change the behavior, maybe identify those behaviors, see how they can change it. And if yes, how deterrent or good can that be? Pastor Clive, you have about 2 minutes, sir.
Life is very funny, sometimes persons' experience will teach us knowledge, and then you have some persons that it's just a matter of time for them to come back with the same character and behavior, and they don't learn anything, and you can't change nobody. They say goodbye over there, and they come over here. Bishop, you'd have said it. The Bible said, "Lay no hands suddenly," and as a young pastor, I'm learning by the day. Lay hand suddenly on no man. Let a man, when a man desire the office, let him prove himself. You have to let people prove themselves. Time will prove people. You don't want to say goodbye and kill people either, but you want them to sit. And persons who really love and is in that place of transition and change will identify. Not everybody, but you'll have some persons who say, "You know what, I need to," and God is working on their lives, because you don't want to cause the good to suffer for the bad. So you just put everybody in the same category. You're going to have some person that learn from their experience and say, you know what, I've learned this lesson, and going forward, because God have a way of humbling you, He has a way of how to bring you to that place of humility. Oh yeah. So, they may come to you and then somebody may say, hey, be careful of this, be careful of that. You take those little things in consideration, but then you watch. Then you kind of put them at a place where you know that they're. Because you have some persons that it's just their personality, and you can't change them. But then did they learn a lesson from their previous? And sometimes you would wish that they would learn a lesson. And there's a thin line between being a person that have full of pride and a person who is thinking that something is just wrong with everybody else. There's a thin line, like nothing is wrong with me. I am seeing it this way. But if 10 persons are telling you that you're wrong, something is wrong.
And that's right.
And you're saying to yourself, so there's a thin line between pride and even self-confidence. So you're saying, oh, I have confidence. That's why I operate like this. There's a thin line.
That's powerful.
And that gray line that you're treading on, it's pride that is sitting behind all of it and pushing your ego. And then when it pushes your ego, and you become, and you're using words, because you can use all these
jargon words. Yes,
words, but it's actually pride, and you're going down to a part of destruction if you don't be careful. So you have to, but when persons like that, no, you need a sense of discernment to be able to say, you know what, and use wisdom. Talk to other people, because by talking to persons, you will learn how to deal with it. And guess what? You have, as a pastor, you realize that if you have 50 people or 20 persons or 10, it's 10 with 10 different personality. You have 20, it's 20 different personality. Everybody is different. Nobody is the same. But we all don't need to agree.
Yes.
To be in one accord. You know what I mean? Like we can disagree on some things, but when it comes down to ministry, for the sake of ministry, we all have to be on one accord in that one vein. Now, if you have somebody that is not in one accord in whatever the dream, the aspiration, and what God has given to you as a pastor or as a leader or as an employer, for your company, for your church, for wherever you are, that person is not fit to be in your company. That person is not fit to be in a position in your company or in your church. Why? Because they're going to be, Bishop, you said earlier, it's like a cancer, and it's going to slowly start to spread. Spread. And when it starts to spread, trust me, you cause more. Back to what I said earlier, it's better for you to look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. It starts to become ugly quick, and it is easy to, back to what the question, say your goodbye early. Cut it off and say, listen to me. I read to listen. In closing, Jesus talked about amputation. Jesus spoke of amputation. It's better for me to go to heaven with one foot, one hand, one eye, than to be cast in the lake with all of my full body. What is he teaching? He's teaching you amputation. Are we not in the one body? Of course, but it's good to amputate something before it causes the rest of the body problem.
That's it.
You understand me? And this is where now you have to be able to look at that gray line and says, look here, you have to make a decision based on amputation, how to make sure that you amputate. But when you amputate, you got to make sure that you bandage up so the person don't bleed out.
Thank you, Pastor Clive. Thank you so much, Elder Muir. Final word, sir. Let's go for the close.
I'm here smiling about the words of Pastor Clive. You have to ensure that they don't bleed out. But sometimes, Pastor Clive, bleeding out is outside of your realm. You cannot help what happens.
Can't control that.
right? So
Yeah.
my final thoughts, though, saying goodbye is never easy, uncomfortable. You're going into uncharted territories that you have never seen. One thing you must bear in mind, as you go, you still have to trod cautiously. So saying goodbye, where's the good in it? As you have said earlier, you may not see the good. Many times you won't see it, but it comes only after you have done
Afterwards.
what you should. God bless you all. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you so much, Bishop. Give me a final word in 30 seconds and we'll be out.
Yeah, you also questioned earlier about leaving a job soon and you're not certain. Very important. Do your homework. Do your studies. Government don't make decisions. They're going to put a building there without they do a study, do a homework. With this work, we're going to affect the environment. We're going to affect people around and so on. Do your homework. Do your homework. God bless you, sir.
Thank you so much, Bishop. There you have it. Thank you so much for joining us rather, in this powerful conversation about the good in saying goodbye. Remember, goodbye is not always an end, but often a new beginning in disguise. By embracing the lessons, love, and light from our past experiences, we can transform our lives and become the Iron Man that the Lord wants us to be. As we close this episode, take a deep breath and remember that you have the strength to let go of what no longer serves you. You have the courage to create a space for new opportunities, relationship, and experiences that will elevate your life. Keep in mind that goodbye is not a failure, but often a fork in the road that leads to growth, renewal, and transformation. So go ahead, take the leap, and trust that God will catch you. On behalf of the entire production crew, we invite you to join us next week on the Iron Man Empowerment Podcast, where we'll explore more topics that will help you become the best version of yourself. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, share with this, subscribe on YouTube, go to our application, wherever you download the apps from, and go to Higher Ground Gospel Radio and download where you can have 24-hour radio. Please like, share. Don't be selfish. Share the information with your friends. You can also share your thoughts on social media by using the hashtag Ironman Empowerment. And so until next time, stay empowered, stay iron strong, and remember that the best is yet to come. Goodbye for now, and hello to the incredible possibilities ahead. Take care. God bless you. Join us for the Iron Man Empowerment Podcast, where we discuss matters close to the heart. This and every Saturday at 8 a.m. until 9:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on HGG Radio. I am your host, Dr. Lincoln Bryan, alongside your co-host, Pastor Clive Atkinson, Bishop Hopeton Morris, and Elder Edmund Muir. The Iron Man Empowerment Podcast. We're not just talk, we're informative.
Reaching you at the highest mountain and the lowest valley. HGG Radio.
What am I?
HGG Radio is celebrating 2 incredible years of spreading God's love and inspiration. We are still standing, and it's all thanks to God and your faithful support. As we mark this milestone, we're reminded that God's word reaches all, whether we are at the highest mountain or the lowest valley. And that's exactly what HGG Radio is all about. Reaching you at the highest mountain and the lowest valley with gospel, inspirational music, and uplifting messages. We need your continued support to keep sharing this message of hope. Visit our website at www.hegradio.ca or send a WhatsApp message at 825-343
888-4486 to donate and help us keep the light shining bright. Let's keep spreading the love of God together.
Join Prophetess Anthea Stoddard Ministries for the Prophetic Gathering Conference 2024 under the theme Unlocking Kingdom Manifestation. Hear from Pastor Prophetess Angela Moulton, Pastor Nicholas Chambers, Pastor Jason McKenzie, Apostle Winston Rowe, Prophet Kenyatta McLeish, Pastor Sarah Taylor, and Evangelist Sophia Blackman. Come worship and sing along with Kevin Downswell, Crystal Reed, and Dawn Martin. Don't miss this transformative experience on July 20 from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the Edmonton Inn Conference Center. Tickets are $200. This includes your meals and conference package. Register now and make payment at althea_Stoddard@yahoo.com or call Marshallie at 780-915-1316 or Janice at 780-691-0978 for more details. Get ready to unlock Kingdom Manifestation.
I've got good news. Somebody make me smile. God told me to tell you it's gonna be alright.
Hey, 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 the Saturday Hub is back online on HGG Radio. Come join me, Auntie Renee, at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central Time, and 12 noon Eastern Time. It's gonna be a great, great, great celebration. Children, you don't want to miss it.
All-in-one dollar store. All-in-one. Get your groceries, over-the-counter drugs, home decor, bathroom, laundry, and kitchen accessories, comforters, blankets, beauty, stationery, events, and birthday supplies, children toys, kids clothes, sneakers, sandals, hats, tracksuits, winter spring jackets, and so much more. Visit them today. 8904 Street, 118 Avenue, Edmonton, Alberta. Open every day. Call 587-977-2343. Email waka1041@gmail.com. All in one dollar store. Top African Fashion, the one-stop shop for all your African needs for men, women, and children. Top African Fashion. We sell anchor and lace fabrics, wigs, jewelry, African traditional beads, matching shoes and bags for ladies. We also carry shoes for men and kids, belts, and so much more. Top African Fashion for all season, occasion, and celebration, church, wedding, and graduation. Top African Fashion. Open every day. Visit us today at 9338 118 Avenue, Edmonton, or call 780-224-7339. Top African Fashion.
Saffron Caribbean delight your one-stop Caribbean cuisine restaurant with their tasty oxtail, curry chicken, jerk chicken, and stew beef. Not to mention their weekend specials, fried fish and soup. Come out and get a taste of the Caribbean. Located at 8155 112 Avenue or call to order at 780-474-9005. Opening hours from Tuesdays to Thursday from 1 to 7 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 1 to 8 p.m. Saffron Caribbean delight. It's not about the quantity, but the quality.
Are you ready to amplify your message and reach hearts with purpose?
Introducing HGG Advertising, your partner in spreading the gospel and connecting with the Christian community.
Churches, Christian-based businesses, listen up.
With HGG Advertising, you can reach your audience through powerful radio campaigns.
Engage hearts, inspire minds, and grow your community with HGG Radio, which is already reaching 136 countries worldwide.
We specialize in promoting Christian values and helping businesses aligned with faith-based principles.
Whether it's a church event or your business rooted in Christian values, HGG Advertising is here for you.
Connect with us and let's share your message with purpose.
HGG Advertising, spreading the gospel, connecting communities. Email us today at ads at hggradio.ca. That's ADS at hggradio.ca. Or call us today at 825-343-4486.
HGG Radio.
Nobody loves like Jesus. We want to thank the Lord for taking us through another week. I want to thank you for joining us right here on HGG Radio, where we reach you at the highest mountain and the lowest valley. This is where I pull things down on the Facebook and YouTube. But remember, you can continue listening to us via an app. You can just download the mobile app and have it on your phone. Take us in your car. Take us wherever you go on this morning. Of course, coming up at 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. right here, local time, MST. Joined with us is Auntie Renee with the Saturday Up with the Youth. All right, I want to say this morning that God has been good to us. God bless you as we put a wrap to this. So have yourself a wonderful weekend. Whatever you do, just stay blessed. Whatever you do, just stay uplifted. God bless you.